good because it's amazing how our world, wherever we go, we see the beauty of things. Even with all the turmoil that's going on in the world today, we still can see the beauty because our earth is made to be like that. It's made to be with us, and it works with us inside. So that's why we see the beauty, not the bad. So it's good. It's good to know that. Anyways, moving on. I could stand here and gab for whatever. So now we get to introduce our speaker for today. She's going to talk about how I love myself so much. Everybody should love themselves so much. And everybody else. So I'm going to introduce Reverend Joanne Boruck. She's going to do our talk today. So.
Thanks, David.
Does this thing quit or what?
You got to push the end in till push it in till it's not green anymore. Isn't that beautiful, the front of that book? And you know, you get 2 for the price of 1 now. Because Juliet didn't put the price up. I wonder if they're going to be more. Well, so for this time, get them while they're cheap. Cheap. They're not cheap. They're priceless. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Red Deer. I'm really happy to see so many people on a long weekend. For me, it's kind of like, I think this is like the new year because the kids are going back to school. There's so much joy and laughter and anticipation. You know, my younger grandkids, they can't wait to go to school, show off their new clothes. My older granddaughter in high school, she was feeling a little scared. She threw up all the way to school, but she went anyway and said it was a great day. So it just shows you everybody anticipates September differently. But I thank you for being here as we explore what it means to love ourselves so much. Please join me in an opening affirmative prayer treatment. If you choose, you can close your eyes and let these words resonate through you as you. One spirit, one mind, one love, one God, and I am one with it. I am the peace and power of love in expression. I am honored to share and care. As words and expressions of love are projected to others, I realize love is a boomerang and returns to me magnified. In the quietness of meditation and the stillness of sleep, I declare that all love is mine, is me, for I am. With gratitude for the truth that love sets us free, I release this into the all-knowing universal mind where it's returned, acted upon, and overflowing. And together we say, and so it is. Let us extend our quietness to reflect on those who need our love today. Those we love and love us. Wendy, who are we praying for you? Marcia and her family. I pray for Susan and all of us. I pray for Laura Lee, who is walking and making such a difference in our world. I pray for Juliet and the path paved with ease and grace. I pray for Arnold and his journey, and I'm so blessed that he drives from Innisfail to be with us. I pray for Reverend Judy, for Reverend Tress, for Reverend Gail, for Reverend Valentine, and Reverend Joanne, that they may continue to do good work as they practice their ministry in their own unique way. I pray for all those out there that I don't know what you are going through, but know we hold you in our heart in this moment of silent prayer. Thank you. I don't have to know what I'm praying for. I pray for David and Sydney. I pray for Wendy and Cecilia, and for Ruth and Donna and Beth and Judy. And I forgot your name. Harlan? Arlene. Oh, yeah. Arlene and Diane and Russell and Joyce. And Talon and Lou and Jessica. Thank you. You know, in the science of mind and spirit, they often say the word God is synonymous with love. We call God love, and we call love God, because God is all there is, so love must be all there is. And I invite you this month, our theme is called Love Out Loud. So I invite you to explore love out loud and to lean into love and express it loudly. Let's look for love every place we go. Let's look for it in ourselves, in people, in places, in events. If you want to see more love in the world, you must be willing to live as an example of love in action. You know, the other day someone asked me if I was going to do a talk on the crisis of faith in the world right now, on the loss of faith. And I had to say to them, I don't think you can lose faith. I think it's something inside of you. I think that it comes from within, not from without. And so, because God and love are synonymous, I think a return to love is a return to faith. And I'm reminded of a story by Prem Rawat. He's a Hindu mystic and speaker, and he talks about world peace all over the world. So he was talking about love, and he was saying, you know, if you're thirsty or you're hungry, you go to the fridge. And he says, and you go to the fridge and you look at the fridge, but you're not going to get what you need by just looking at it. I mean, you could stand there saying, I wish I knew how to get a drink out of that fridge. How come I'm looking at the fridge and I'm still hungry? He says, you can't get anything out of the fridge unless you open the door. So he says, if you're going around wondering, I wish I could get love. How come I'm so loving? How come I can't get love? Well, maybe you haven't opened the door because you're the fridge. And so I really think about that one. And you can use that analogy for anything, for peace, for abundance, because our philosophy is everything's inside of you. And there's nothing to attract to you. There's only removing the blocks and letting it reveal itself. I read something that really spoke to me. It says, all energy is the sum of free will plus love. I thought that was a good one. All energy is the sum of free will plus love. But the author's unknown, so I could put my name on there. Do you know, love is such an impactful word in English because it encompasses so many things. But other cultures, Greek philosophy has this word called agape. And it means the love of fellowship, the love of each other, affection, joy, bliss. And in Canada, we loosely translate that all to just love. Also, in Greek language, they have two kinds of love. They have philia love, Philia, which means brotherly love, love of humanity. And then they have another love for sexual love. It's called eros, E-R-O-S. So I think for us to start learning about love, it takes some reprogramming. Like Don Miguel Ruiz says, we're programmed to think a certain way, so we've got to think a different way. We got to think about love in the sense that it's something that is ours to give. Again, when I was thinking about we don't lose faith, we have faith. We don't lose love, we are love. So it's not ours to keep because we're love. So we're supposed to share it. I also have this other book called The New Living Translation of the Bible. And I really like the way they talk about it. Because I think the greatest words ever spoken are in Corinthians. And in the new translation it says, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It doesn't demand its own way. It's not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices when the truth wins. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Ernest Holmes talks about love. One of our other teachers that we read, Thomas Troward, he talks about love. He says that our level of awareness is determined by our condition, which is another thought, another way of saying change your thinking, change your life. So he says if the only awareness we acknowledge is the power of love, we can change every condition in our life. And I wondered, how can I love myself so much and still communicate it authentically and not just mechanically? And if you know, I'm still working on it. Sometimes I say I love you mechanically and not always authentically. But how love was communicated to us as infants is probably how we communicate love in the world. And then we could still go back to Don Miguel Ruiz again, and we have to reprogram ourselves. And so it may or may not have been your ideal communication for love in your family, but I'm telling you, it's the best way they knew how. And self-love is something pretty new. It wasn't even in the equation in my parents' time, let alone my grandparents' time. But now we know how important it is. And whoever those are, those people, could be your parents, your adoptive parents, your caregivers, whoever they were, they gave you what you needed, what they were capable of. And so I want to think about that a little more deeply for a moment about how I experienced love. And I want you to join me and just close your eyes for a moment and relax. Drop into your heart and just ask yourself, how did I experience love as a child? And now let's do that again and go a little deeper. Drop once again into your heart and ask yourself, how do I express love to myself and others? And I wonder if those were the same for you. Was there a correlation between the two? Are they similar? Or is it easier for you to love others and not yourself? And if you had a blessed childhood, pass it on. If you had a less than blessed childhood, change the narrative and pass it on. And, there is a commonality between those two, how you experienced it and how you express it, and that is the key to finding self-love. And the reason it's important is because it opens the door that might have been locked since childhood. It might open that fridge for you if you can look at what you were taught and how you experience it. I was going to use myself as an example. I grew up in a household that was pretty colorful, to say the least, and my parents never said, "I love you." They never hugged me good night. They never commented when I did good at school or did my chores. And for many years, my mother worked nights, and my dad wasn't home very much. But you know what they did do? When I was having a bad day, when something was going wrong in the house, they would always go out and buy us all cherry blossoms and Coke. And, I love gifts more than, we all love to get gifts. But as my life progressed, I took gifts as something must have happened. Why are they buying me that? Even in my marriage, every time I got something, I thought it was an apology and not just because I was worthy. It took me 60 years to realize that them buying me gifts was them saying, I love you. So you might not get the love in the way that you expect it. And if you haven't already, you should read the 5 love languages. It'll sure help you understand yourself, your family, your relationships. So nothing else would do, because I wanted appreciation and acknowledgement. Didn't matter what they did. If they didn't acknowledge what I did, I was pretty sure they didn't love me. And, I can't even say. I carry this forward with me. They never said I love you, and they never hugged me. That could not even be true. But because they didn't give it to me in the way I wanted, I just assumed they didn't. But I have to tell you, my parents' last 10 years of life, they moved to Lacombe. And I got to see them every day. And I came to know and appreciate them. And they did say, I love you. So, to speak of love as if it's something out there, something we offer to another, or a label that, I love them so much, I've attained this pinnacle, I'm going to marry them. That's all way off base. Because to speak of love, you need to go back to the source of all that is. That's your divinity, your God self, your space where God shines through. Idella Chadwick, Ernest Holmes' niece, wrote this poem, and you've probably heard me say it because I say it quite often because it really is meaningful to me and it reminds me of my purpose. And it says, I am a place where God shines through, for He and I are one, not two. He needs me where and as I am. I never worry, fret, or plan. If I will be relaxed and free, God will carry His plan through me. Let this be my song, and let it ring true. I am a place where God shines through. So perhaps love is a place, not really a feeling. It's a place inside of you, and when you realize it could be the place where God shines through, and it's not yours to keep after all, doesn't that make you want to go out and shine your love? So in shining my love, I'd like to invite Donna up, because we're going to sing a chant that came from a Centers for Spiritual Living teen camp. And so I invite you to join me. Should we do some actions or?
There are actions.
Okay.
I don't remember them.
Okay, well, let's make them up.
She's on.
Yeah, like this, and this. Okay.
Ready?
Okay.